Frank Reyes has been the Executive Director of the Arrowhead Regional Medical Center Foundation since 2009. Prior to joining the foundation, he served as the Executive Director of Governmental Affairs for the San Bernardino Community College District for 33 years. Under his leadership, the district and its 2 campuses received more than $100 million in grants. Noted for his commitment to the betterment of the community, Frank has also been listed in the Inland Empire magazine as one of the most influential Hispanics and was named Latino of the Year by the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. Stan Morrison is a Senior Vice President for Business Growth at Security Bank of California. However, he gained national attention as a center for the University of California, Berkeley, as the Bears won the NCAA title in 1959. He went on to achieve national recognition as a basketball coach and athletics administrator at 4 Division I universities, including San Jose State, the University of Southern California, the University of Pacific, and the University of California, Santa Barbara. Stan is a tireless advocate for the betterment of the community. He serves on numerous boards such as High Five America, Olive Crest, the Inland Empire Boy Scouts, ARC Riverside County, and the American Diabetes Association. I want to welcome Stan and Frank to the show. Guys, thank you very much.
Good
I
to
appreciate
see you.
it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You know, I was looking forward to this interview for a couple of reasons. Number one, because of your backgrounds, which we'll get into. But the second thing is, I know that both of you are really involved in different foundations and charitable organizations. And in this month's issue of Successful Physicians Monthly, we spend time with different foundations and we talk about the work that they do. How important is the work that these foundations and organizations do for the community? You know, Stan, we'll start with you.
Well, I think they're terribly important. Anytime you have foundations who are in a position to help people in need, I think they are of immense importance to any community. Quality of life issues obviously are addressed, but to assist people in getting a leg up and getting an opportunity to go through a door that under normal circumstances, their finances, their circumstances wouldn't allow them to do that. And that's absolutely what called me to participate in so many.
Excellent, excellent. And Frank, what are your thoughts?
Well, the purpose of our foundation is basically to try to recruit and to obtain some funding so that the funding can go back to help the hospitals and buying equipment, training the hospital physicians and nurses. So we're there to just help in any way that we can to be able to obtain that. So that's the whole purpose of our foundation.
You know, I want to talk about the 4 Quarters program and Let the Children Lead. I think that's a significant thing for us to talk about. I think it touches on a couple of things you said earlier, and that is early detection, information, getting to children at a young age, really to change their mindset, to help them understand, you know, what they need to do to live a healthy lifestyle, to not get certain conditions that are preventable, or at least you can, you know, do more to give yourself a better chance of not getting certain conditions. And so let's spend some time talking about that program, because I think it's really significant. I think it's going to change a lot of people's lives. So just tell me, you know, the idea of the program, and tell me, you know, where the idea came from.
Well, Frank is really smart because he knows when you make it personal, people jump in with both feet and they get totally invested. And he brought a brilliant surgeon, a neurosurgeon by the name of Dr. Muley, on to speak to a gathering, a committee he has for the Arrowhead Regional Medical Center Gala that we're going to be having in next February. And he was so captivating and gave us so much information about strokes, and that, you know, 20% of all beds in hospitals in America are due to stroke-related circumstances. And he talked about the percentage of people in our population that are obese, that have diabetes, that are not getting exercise, that are not eating proper diets, and went on and on statistically. He talked about, as I mentioned earlier, the cost to the American public, you know, for stroke alone. And he captured me. He made it more than personal for me. I mean, he absolutely captured me. And I was sitting there and I said, how, and he, in part of his PowerPoint presentation, he showed this unit. And it's a CT Perfusion Scanner. And apparently you can put your body in this scanner in 6 minutes and find out where the clot is, and they can operate on you and remove the clot, and you don't have a stroke possibility at that point. And I asked, how much is that unit? And he said, $2 million. Well, earlier in his presentation, he had said, there are 2 million people in San Bernardino County. And so in my simple little way, I said, if everybody gave $1, we would have $2 million and we can get another unit, because this is really important. And on the spot, I made up the program. Honestly, I didn't have anything written out. And I just said, let's find a way to have children involved, and that's where let the children lead. And it was relatively simple the way I unfolded it for everyone. If we get every child in San Bernardino County to go and raise, not $1, that's a lot to a kid, but 4 quarters, for whatever reason, isn't as much. To raise 4 quarters, we're off to a great start. And we give them a leadership role in going to their parents, their grandparents, their brothers and sisters, aunts and uncles, and their neighbors. So how does a child go and get 4 quarters? Well, the first place they should head is to the couch, where their dad, spilled some of his change, and get down in there and get a quarter. And maybe they do the dishes for a quarter, and pull some weeds for a quarter, and sweep the floor for a quarter. They have their 4 quarters. Well, 4 quarters to victory is a period of time, 4 quarters, as if in a basketball game, beginning October 1st, where ideally on the first day of the campaign, every child would show up with 4 quarters to their class. Now, to do this, you want to start right at the top, and in our committee there, when I was making this presentation, a cold presentation, we had some superintendents of schools. We had mayors, and the superintendent said, we're in. And I thought, yeah, that's great. And so you have the superintendents in charge of the principals, and the principals is in charge of their teachers, and the teachers in charge of their students. And in every class, there would be a captain, that Jamar Brown, that's organized and concise, good follow-up, and does all the things, who on Monday of each week, in our 4 quarters to victory, will collect the money, take it to the principal's office throughout the entire county, and each week we're making collections. And it was my thought that there would be businesses that would want to be out there. There'd be a gentleman out there that says, I want to match whatever that class raises. I want to match whatever that whole grade, 3 classes in that 3rd grade, I want to match them. Or I want to match that school, somebody that's really ambitious. And if a school raises $1,500, somebody's going to step up with $1,500. That's the way you do it. But in the best of all worlds, it is the lesson that we give for children, that they begin the process of giving back. They start giving back. They find reason and passion and a knowledge about making a difference in their own communities. And I think it would be one of the most rewarding and most educational experiences of their lives. Think of the things that kids will learn about teamwork, about leadership, responsibility, dedication, commitment, adult skills, mathematics, the science of stroke and what is going on with this CT Perfusion scanner.
It's a phenomenal program. I'm excited about doing what our part as Successful Physicians Monthly to help promote it and help educate people about the program. And one of the questions that I was going to ask, which you kind of answered, was, this program has an obvious benefit for the healthcare environment in terms of early detection and prevention. It's going to lower our costs of care and treatment of stroke victims and things like that. And it's going to change the lives of thousands of families just in terms of what this machine can do. And I was going to ask you about the other benefit, and that is of creating a certain energy and mindset in children to help them become leaders and to give them something very tangible to develop them as leaders and develop their character and their sense of self and their self-esteem. And Frank, I know that's something that you're passionate about in your endeavors as well.
Well, I have to give all the credit to Stan. Stan actually was the brain person behind this, and he did it quickly, and I think it's very, very doable. I think it's a very creative way of doing things.
I want to ask one more question before we close, and I think the benefit of this program and what you both are doing is extremely clear for children. I think they're going to love it, they're going to appreciate it, they're going to enjoy it. I think some of the healthcare things are clear for the healthcare environment and how it's going to help with healthcare costs and lower costs. And But I think about the parents and the guardians that are, working, multiple jobs, trying to take care of their children, and they're trying to survive, and oftentimes, they don't have the time or the resources. So what encouraging messages would you like to leave for the parents that are, and the guardians? I mean, there's parents, guardians, single moms, anyone out there that are taking care of these children that are going to be asked to lead in the very near future. What messages would you like to tell them to help encourage them and prepare them for, doing their role and their part in this 4 quarters and the Let the Children Lead program?
For me, it's really simple. The dynamics of every family is different. The way a parent feels about their child when they see their child in a burn unit, terribly disfigured. And knowing that the child can go to a camp where other kids are disfigured and they all understand each other's circumstances, that's very meaningful. Other camps are out there like that. The diabetes camp that my grandson goes to, Camp Wana Cura. And so everyone there, the counselors included, have been through it and are going through it, and they understand it. But as a parent, you understand those times that you weren't supported by your parents. Maybe you didn't have a parent there to support you. And there's a great opportunity here to watch your child with great enthusiasm trying to do something positive for someone else, including themselves. And it isn't entitlement where it's coming into them. It's this giving of themselves back for a cause, and they're organized in the classroom. That's one of the great things that parenting does, to give a kid a full head of steam for something that is so worthwhile that they themselves can benefit from. Jamar, imagine a youngster coming to you and saying, I am asking you for 4 quarters, so you someday, if you have a stroke, you'll get immediate help here at Arrowhead Regional Medical Center, or your brothers or sisters or your wife or your grandparents or anyone like that, and a child having that message. That is so noble. There's nothing, in my view, more noble than doing something like that and giving back. And the rewards, you may never see the faces of the people you help, but you did help people, and you did it in the noblest of causes. And I think for a parent to understand that, to give a kid a full rein and let them run with it, that's a wonderful moment in their lives, a moment that will not be forgotten.
I completely agree with that, completely agree. Frank?
Well, I think he said it very well. One of the things that comes to mind, I watch commercials, and a lot of times, you watch those commercials that say, where the auto mechanic guy saying, you know what, my car, there's something wrong with my car. And he says, well, if you take care of this now, this will happen. If you don't, you'll see me later, and you'll pay a lot more. Right. And this is the way I think that, as Stan is saying, that as parents, we're very passionate. I think that we do have a tendency to make extra time if it's something that becomes very personal. Right. And I think that that's what we're trying to do with these programs, is to make them feel not uncomfortable, but to make them aware of there's needs out there. But if we tackle these problems ahead, then the probability, we're always going to have an obesity problem, in terms of that. But maybe not as great as we are if we make people aware, or the burn, or what have you, at the hospital. So I think that people do step up to the plate when they become aware of, if we don't take care of this problem now, it's going to create, and it's going to cost a lot more.
Stan and Frank, I haven't only enjoyed this discussion, I've been inspired by it, and on behalf of the thousands of parents and children and individuals that currently have medical conditions that the work you're doing is helping to treat, and the people that are going to not have health conditions or have things detected early because of the work that you're doing with the 4 Quarters program and the foundation. I just want to thank both of you for your time, and it's really been a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you for inviting us.
Yeah, thank you, Jamar.
Thank you. Today we spent time with 2 of the most engaged and committed individuals I have met in terms of giving back to the community. They and so many countless individuals have sacrificed their time, money, and other resources, all for a single purpose: to help create the best possible quality of life for the communities in which they serve. Their respective organizations have literally changed the lives of thousands of children and adults. For Successful Physicians Monthly, I'm Jamar Brown.